So good morning, everyone. And as I said earlier, but I'll say it again for those who are not here when I did. Welcome, a very warm welcome to you to join us for this IMC Experience Exchange. I am Norma Shorey. I am the chair of the Membership Growth and Development Committee of the ICMCI. And this morning for me at 4 a.m. and for other people, it's in the evening and it's in the night. We're looking at using digital technologies to enhance IMC's operations and relationships. And so this theme is a very important theme for all of us. And I really appreciate your presence here because it's not only the IMCs that are presenting, but we want to hear from all of you representing your IMCs around the world on this topic and what you're doing and some of the issues and challenges that you are facing. So today, our experience exchange agenda, I'm just going to share a few opening remarks and give you some background and context for the experience exchange. And then we have the experience being shared by New Zealand, and we welcome Scott. We have welcomed Scott this morning, and also by Chris Harper from IMC Canada, CMC Canada. And then we have some time for all of us to have some questions and answers and have some discussion and have some sharing of our own individual experiences and our experiences from our IMCs. So we will be able to be flexible in terms of our time and move forward to closure and the next steps. So let me just put this into context. First of all, our membership growth and development mission is to increase the number of member IMCs to engage and support them in functioning effectively. All of you are, as you heard, are from IMCs right across the globe. And let me just say that we are going to have another session later on today for the people who are in a different time zone and therefore would not have been able to join so early. Otto, we especially appreciate you because it's 2 a.m. your time. Let me just say that we are moving forward in many ways to engage and support our IMCs. And we have recently indicated and got approval at the last conference. We announced the Charter of Collaboration, which establishes a framework for cooperation and communication within our global community. And this Charter of Collaboration outlines what are our expectations, what are the rights, what are the responsibilities related to ICMCI membership. And it serves as a guiding document so that all of our IMCs can be aligned in terms of how we operate in relationship to the international body. And we are looking at ways in how we can collaborate and with each other more effectively. And it will also, the Charter provides an opportunity to share what is our accountability among our our IMCs and to and from our international body. Our international body and the member institutes and affiliates because we're looking at different classes of membership. And so you will be hearing shortly about the Charter of Collaboration and what it will mean for your IMCs when it is officially launched. But I'm just giving you a heads up that that's part of what we are doing at the ICMCI to engage and support our IMCs more effectively. So our experience exchange today has come out of the comments and the survey and the perspectives that you have shared in your various IMCs on a number of issues, and one of these issues that we asked is what is your area for learning? What is it that you would like to improve on in your IMCs? And we also asked, what are the strengths of the IMCs? So from this, we were able to identify a number of key issues that we felt would be useful for sharing. And then we created in 2024, we started the first experience exchange, and that one in May 2024 was on marketing and attracting new members. And then in February 2025, we had one on income generating strategies. And then in July 2025, we had building synergy with professional services organizations. And in each of them, we had the members sharing their perspectives, or whether we had it as a presentation or just sharing those interactively in breakout groups. So this morning, evening, night, we are looking at how are we using digital technologies to enhance our IMC operations and relationships. And we are delighted this morning to have Scott from IMC New Zealand, who will share some perspectives. And we will also have a video recording from Chris, who is from CMC Canada. So on that note, I would like to invite you, Scott, to share some of your perspectives from IMC New Zealand. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Norman. Greetings, everyone, and great to see you all here. So greetings from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm Scott Rogers. I'm the president of the Institute of Management Consultants of New Zealand, and I'm an active consultant. And I'm very pleased to see Dr. Raymond Tam with us today. He's the treasurer, a member of our council, and when we start talking about the complexities of our environment, he's the person who's helping deal with it. So fantastic to see him here. So I'm just going to share my screen. IMC New Zealand, we're a small institute, but we've got a really diverse and engaged membership base. So pretty much everything I'll show you today has been involved, produced, created, and managed by our members on a volunteer basis, which is fantastic. And sometimes we do pay for specialist resource, but the majority of this is about what we do and how we operate. So a very quick summary of our environment. Our membership system, website, financial systems, and payment systems are integrated. We can create events in Membership Works and publish them directly onto the website, where members can register and pay for events and annual membership fees using Stripe, which then updates Membership Works and Xero Financial Record. It's not without issues, different systems with different requirements, but generally it works well. Although, as Raymond will attest, it does need some manual correcting sometimes. But we know who our members are, their financial status, and important details about CMC qualified members to keep track of our responsibilities. I won't talk much further about our administration systems at this point, but certainly welcome to ask any questions. And even if we cannot answer them, we can find answers for you. But I do want to talk about the IMCNZ Competency and Skills Development Framework and the IMCNZ sponsored Skills and Competency Assessments tool called Assess My Consulting. Okay. To be very clear up front, the IMCNZ Competency and Skills Framework is built upon global foundations. It's built upon the CMC Competence Framework and CMC Common Body of Knowledge. Now, those foundations are core to the integrity of the system. Our team developed it to accurately surface consulting skills and capabilities, to clearly define where consultants can grow their skills. It is a skills development foundation for all levels of our profession, from student through to professional leader. It is written for and uses language appropriate to a non-expert audience to ensure it is accessible to everyone. ICMCI uses this framework as a structure for our events and training and wider education programs to promote and build the range of skills consultants require. It's also a really strong guide for aspiring CMC candidates to better prepare them for an assessment. Quick commentary on the framework. We have 8 framework aspects and 36 competencies that capture the full range of consulting skills. We've built upon the foundations and strengthened it with a stronger business management and client engagement and soft skills focus, because economies like ours, where independent consultants need to start, build and sustain consulting businesses. So that's probably the where we've enhanced the foundations. Now, everything I'm showing here is available on this website, so please go and explore for yourself. Assess My Consulting is a free online self-assessment survey tool. And all you need to do is answer some online questions, which should take about 5 to 7 minutes to complete. The self-assessment is anonymous. This was first released in 2016, and we're at version 2. It was rewritten following the release of this Competency and Skills Framework in 2024. A quick view of the competency assessment tool. The questions are all behavioural. It asks about what you do and how you think you work. And what do you get? You will immediately receive a detailed report on your consulting skills, highlighting where there may be opportunities for improvement in comparison to different levels of experience. The details of the report are confidential to you. When completing the assessment, you can then choose to download a PDF of your report, and each anonymous report has a unique URL that can be used to compare follow-up reports in the future. Now, these examples are generic, just created for the purpose of this thing. So go in and try it yourself if you haven't already done so. It should take you less than 10 minutes. Globally, this has been used in 23 countries, and in the system right now, we're at the count of 1,563 assessments. By far, the highest number of assessments are from Canada, followed by the Philippines, United States, and New Zealand. List of countries and assessment count from each, and anonymous high-level results from recent assessments are online at this address. 72% of the people completing the assessment rates themselves as foundation level, while 8% rate themselves as CMC level or above. The site owner, Andrew Marr, reports that the average assessment score is 2.6, which equates to a midway between practitioner and advanced CMC. This suggests that many people rate themselves with a low level of experience, but their assessment scores suggest a slightly higher capability. The context for this is it's really useful to introduce to your student, very useful to introduce to all levels of your organization. And it's a very useful way for people to self-assess, to build confidence, and to get a sense of where they need to go. I've seen it used in organizations in this country as a way of developing and building progression skills development framework within companies. We can see that it has a lot more potential, and while we are cautious about using it as for a CNC assessment, we think there's some real foundation there with a bit more work from our point of view. So yeah, give it a go. And to close, thank you very much for this opportunity. I look forward to your questions with a qualifier. I'm not the expert and may well need to go and find answers for you after this event. Thank you very much.
I need to unmute myself. Good. Thank you very much, Scott. That gave us a quick overview of some of the things that you're doing that would be definitely valuable to many of our other IMCs who are not necessarily aware of this assessment tool that you have shared. So thank you very much for sharing that. And before we go into questions, what we will do is to have the presentation from Chris Harper in IMC Canada, which has been pre-recorded. And then we will be able to have a full discussion with both Q&A and also bringing in anything else that we have learned from Chris. So, Kuzema, would you share Chris's video, please?
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and hello to you all from your friends here in Canada, where we're heading into spring after what was a very fun winter. Thanks for making the time to learn a little bit more about how we're using technology here in the Canadian context. And so we're going to share some information that will hopefully inspire you to do some new things with technology, because it does have the potential to help us. One thing I will note is that a lot of the solutions, well, actually all of the solutions that I'm going to be discussing with you today are available in North America. I am unsure about availability in the world generally, but I thought it would be great to share because you never know when there might be something similar in your locality that would provide similar benefit. I thought I would focus on 4 different areas where we focus on using technology to create value and productivity in our organization. And so that focuses on learning and development, certification administration, the management of programs, as well as just general administration. In selecting these tools as they've evolved over the years, and as we've made decisions to discontinue with some tools and to consolidate into other tools over the past year, we had a few different principles in mind, right? And first, one of the principles is we want to maximize the enablement that we can receive through technology, but we also need to recognize that the availability of information technology skills and expertise is a bit more limited in our team. And so whatever we acquire, we need to be able to sustain ourselves without being technologically educated or experienced in substantial ways. We also need to make sure that solutions are capable, but also feasible for us. There are a lot of solutions out there that do amazing things. I've worked with them in my enterprise experience as well. However, they're very expensive, and we need to understand that we need capability, but we need feasible capability. And so cost constraints was something we needed to recognize in selecting our tools and how we use them. We also use multiple systems that use what's called an API, which is essentially an application programming interface, and it allows different technologies or systems to communicate to one another. And so again, this helps us reduce the need to enter data in multiple places because we have automations that can take care of replicating that data for us. And then, of course, we wanted to make sure that whatever solutions we did use, obviously cybersecurity was an important priority, both secure access, ensuring that there was authorized individuals only, as well as just ensuring that our environments are safe from emerging cyber threats. And these are things that we manage on our own. When it comes to learning and development, we've learned that the experience of learners is critical. We can't have learning programs that look poorly developed, that don't run smoothly, and that do not have modern interfaces. Because this is often the first introduction of individuals to our profession in Canada, we want to make sure that their experience, right from learning and development through to certification, is a compelling one. And for that reason, we recently switched to Thinkific, which is a platform that allows us to design learning programs and deploy them easily, as you'll see, without the need for SCORM files, because those often require an additional tool to develop the SCORM file, which you then need to import into your learning management system. Frankly, that was a waste of money and something that we eliminated. And so we have gone to Thinkific. It is a great solution for us. It is a feasible solution in terms of price and allows payment and processing and management of course registrations and wait lists. It also allows us to deliver synchronous as well as asynchronous learning. And so, for example, our ISO 2700 program in Canada is done asynchronously. And so we have that loaded in the platform so that individuals can purchase and complete the course on their own time and at their own pace. As we go through certification programs with CMC candidates, we are also updating Monday.com, which is our primary system of record for candidate statuses. And that way we know someone's taken, for example, the ethics course or the Essentials of Management and Consulting course, and we know that they have met that requirement. And so we update that in our certification system. So speaking of our certification system, our certification administration is largely done on what's called Monday.com. It is essentially a platform that allows you to create various spreadsheets and automations and subtasks within what look like spreadsheets. And this allows us to track what is very, very detailed information about candidates working towards the CMC designation. And so it allows us to easily manage this and share it across the team. What you're seeing here on the screen in the bottom is some redacted information from our Monday.com. And so we have the candidate name, their email address, as well as the link to their profile in our member management system. And then you can see here, we can see various statuses as we've gone to just tidy up this data in the past months. Very key here as well as the sub-items. So each candidate has a sub-item list based on how they're streamed, because we have various streams in Canada with various requirements that are different, still protecting the rigor per the certification manual with the ICMCI. And you can see here we track detailed information about progress towards completion so that we can see the status of individuals as they move through the CMC journey and towards the designation itself. We're also currently working to develop a digital bot called CertI, which is short for certification, with the intention to test some of the capabilities in this bot. Right now, we're just getting this stood up, but the intention is to train it internally so that we can provide it feedback and it can learn and correct, with the intention of eventually making such a bot available to external candidates, as well as to the internal team to provide guidance on next steps in administration and to answer common questions. We think this would be beneficial to improving the experience of candidates, but always making sure that the human-to-human element is still protected. Our goal is not to automate the certification process, but simply to make sure automation is put in place where it can. However, the elements of relationship building and connecting with candidates person to person is still a priority and is still happening on a weekly basis. I will point out, I come from a background in enterprise technologies, and so there are various CRM systems that would be very desirable for this type of situation and use case. The challenge is these systems are often cost prohibitive. And so there's cost constraints we need to realize here, although we see the value in those systems. And when cost is not a constraint with those systems, our investigations have found that there's generally a lack of sound capability within them. We also administer various programs, and this requires a lot of tracking of administration and external stakeholders that interact with the information that we have inside our organization. So again, we use the Monday.com tool because it allows us to track detailed program information, but there's some capabilities that go beyond that we use here. So for example, we use various automations that automatically send emails to individuals or to CMCs based on the status of their projects, which is great because that reduces us having to have people send what are very routine and trigger-based emails. It also provides a portal which allows secure logging in for CMC's clients and other stakeholders so they can see the relevant project information whenever they so choose. And so that portal is something they log into with a unique user ID and password, and they're able to see relevant projects that they are currently working on, or in some cases, they're able to bid on those projects. What you see here is an example of the email that would be one of the emails. We have many emails that the system sends, but this is an example of one of the emails that would be sent for our IRAP program here at CMC Canada. And so again, all automated and uses information inside of Monday to populate the data that you see here. All of these things in brackets are referencing specific fields within specific boards in our Monday.com solution. This is an example of some of the automations. You can see the very top one there is indicating that when follow-up data arrives, send a follow-up email automatically. And so again, that saves us from having to have a person send all of these emails, and they can be quite numerous in this context here. So various automations, and I will say the automations also integrate to other systems. So I mentioned those certification candidates earlier and the need for them to, as we track their status, we have an automation, for example, that takes their status and updates various lists for email distribution in MailChimp, which allows us to communicate course registration information to those candidates directly. And here's an example of the portal once you're logged in that you might see here. There is live data in the portal. For example, when the CMC clicks on My Projects, they'll see the status of their various projects. And then as they're coming towards the end of the project, we have the invoice submission process, which actually ties into a solution that I didn't mention today, but is called Typeform. And Typeform captures, for example, the intake of CMCs that may reach out to us via the website so that we can schedule meetings with them as well. And again, all of the meeting bookings, all of the Typeform, a lot of these things are automated. So someone can book a meeting directly with me to learn more about the CMC designation, and then I help them on their journey along the way. So in terms of general administration, you heard me talk about the MailChimp integration. In between Monday and MailChimp is a solution called Zapier, which connects those two systems together in a secure fashion using the APIs that I mentioned. For our internal teams and information management, we're using Microsoft and Microsoft Teams, as well as SharePoint for like our board and our committee work. SharePoint is a bit more tricky to use when working with external users, but it's the best we're able to find at this point in time, and it's included in our Microsoft costs already. We use Copilot, which is a generative AI tool provided by Microsoft, just to increase productivity internally and ensure that our data remains secure. So we want to avoid using external AI applications whenever possible, because some of the data we do work with is confidential member data. Zoom, as I'm sure we're all observed with the ICMCI over the years, is used to organize larger events in our jurisdiction in Canada. And then we have this tool called Canva, which helps us develop very professional looking visual and brand materials. It leverages aspects of AI to create graphics and things like that. But again, it just makes things, if you want to make something look good in terms of marketing, Canva helps you do that without necessarily having to have really extremely sound visual design skills. Then, as I mentioned, Zapier is an orchestration layer, and so it takes care of transiting data between various systems when direct integrations are not available. So as you can see, we use technology in various ways in Canada, and if you have any questions or you want to learn more about what we're doing in Canada, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. I can be reached at charper@cmc-canada.ca. Again, it's charper@cmccanada.ca. Thanks very much and have a great day, everybody.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, in absentia. Chris will be speaking live at our session later on today. Okay, we've had some very interesting perspectives shared by New Zealand and by Canada, IMC New Zealand, CMC Canada. And so now I'm just opening the floor to the members present to ask any questions and share some of your perspectives on the digital technologies as you have used them to enhance your operations and to build relationships with your clients, members, and colleagues. Okay, so I'm opening the floor to the group.
My name is BK Lim from Singapore. What I'd like to know is that after seeing the Canada presentations, in terms of the digitalization is pretty impressive. Want to know how much resources required to operate the whole system, from Monday.com all the ways to the Microsoft Copilot and so on. The next question is that for ICMCI under new normal is that what is the vision of the ICMCI to have some sort of the digital technology that which actually apply across all the IMC, so that we have some sort of shared platform that we could use intensively among all the IMC, rather than each one create their own platform. Okay, that's my questions.
That's a very good question, PK, and I'm going to, and Rima, you had your hand up, so please share. Thank you
I
from the
will.
Secretariat.
Now,
Okay.
with regards to your first question to Canada, please do email Chris and he will be able to advise you, because we do not have the answer to that. With regards to your second question, and being a person at the IQA PK, we've started with number one. As ICMCI, we have already platforms where we're trying to automate the work of ICMCI itself. We have, of course, our QuickBooks for the accounting, which we use annually, even with the auditors, and they are comfortable with that. The second is that we have Zoho, and that is a CRM. We've already been using it for the past almost 3 years in order to share all the announcements and information with the IMCs. However, the second phase has started as well, and it's going to be the automation of all the assessment process that IQA and the assessors provide to the IMCs. So we're in that phase now, and once it is completed, most of the IMCs who will be assessed next year may even see the difference, because it's all going to be automated, just like almost like what Chris showed us in the video. Plus, at ICMCI, we try and use Canva in order to make sure that our announcements, our designs also have the same look and feel all through. And maybe that has been noticed when we've issued most of our documentation during the past 2 years with regards to the white paper, for example, design, the NCI report design, and any documents that are now included among the publications of ICMCI that have the same look and feel. Plus, we've put together all the logos for all IMCs to use, and those are included in the login area for IMCs. I've noticed that some still use the previous logos, but please do enter our logged in area that is dedicated for all of you, so that we all use the same trademarks. We've registered the CMC, so now everyone who's a CMC should add the registered trademark to their name, and that is also in our way of making sure that we all look and feel the same. So we do have some automation programs, and we're on the step of making them available to the IMCs. I see Nick has his hand up.
Yep.
Please, Nick, go ahead.
Thanks, Rima. I just wanted to add, I mean, yes, we have got all that lot in place, and it is all being developed more comprehensively. But for me, the most exciting development for the future is our credentials hub, which will be a centralized learning management system, LMS, which will provide lifelong learning to our member consultants in member institutes. So within that credentials hub, there will be the opportunity for self-paced online learning. There'll be the opportunity to gain micro credentials or micro certifications in specialist areas of consulting, and to progress to maybe a mid-level CMC award sort of a registration board for consultancy, and eventually to CMC itself. The interesting thing, of course, is that our member institutes like Canada and Australia already have those similar systems in place. And so it's going to be very interesting for us to see how we coordinate with those systems that are already in place through our centralized global LMS system. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we do want to make sure that we have a comprehensive online platform that anybody anywhere in the world can use for their lifelong learning and career development. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. That work is now able to begin because we have finally secured the ability of online payment through our Services Inc. commercial arm, which means that now the Credentials Hub can go full steam ahead to get into operation.
Okay.
Nick, my question to you is that if you all want to develop this type of platform for the worldwide basis, is there a champion from ICMCI, or is some champion from some IMC champion on behalf of ICMCI to fan out to everybody?
And it will, it will be an ICMCI central initiative. But like I said, there are already some very good systems in place in some of our member institutes. Of course, we don't want to lose those. What we will be working on is how we integrate what is in place already together with our new centralized system as well. And it may be that there is an excellent course available, maybe in Canada, maybe in Australia. There's no reason why ICMCI should reinvent the wheel. We'll just use our system to provide a portal to where those courses are. And the Credentials Hub will be a two-way advantage. Obviously, people will pay to use it, but on the other hand, organizations who can provide us courses that ICMCI take on board will also receive payment as well. So it's going to be a two-way thing for organizations who have something in place that ICMCI can use, and for people to actually pay for their lifelong learning. But we do recognize that a lot of work has been done in some institutes already. We certainly don't want to reinvent that. If it works for ICMCI, then we'll be happy to talk to them about how we use it and how they gain some benefit from it. Some wider benefit that they're gaining than they're gaining now, let's say.
I wanted to ask, thank you very much for that, Nick. I wanted to ask Scott a little bit more about that interesting approach that he identified, that one of the programs, the assessmyconsulting.com. And it seems to have got some very good feedback and participation across the globe. Would you be able to share a little bit more about that, Scott? And then I see Stephen's hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I probably can't share a lot more. One of the things that Andrew Marr, who's the owner of the site that we've been supporting, so context for that site is he's developed the site. IMCNZ own the intellectual property that they use. He was reporting that Canada is one of the bigger users, but he says that there are universities in Canada who are now using the tool as part of their internal evaluation process. He used an example of a university, which I've yet to validate, so I won't really comment. But the tool is used extensively. When I look at the outside of big jurisdictions and economies who have a lot of users, there's often one or two or three or four people from a lot of different countries, which is great. Yeah, but yeah, it'd be a case of it'll become very valuable if local IMCs and CMC entities were to advocate for it. And I'm guessing, because I don't know the history, clearly there's been a lot of take up in Canada, and obviously a lot of support, and particularly if a university is using it for one of their course products. That's
Thank
all
you
I can
very
say.
much.
My apologies.
Okay, thanks for that, Scott. Stephen, you had your hand up. Would you like to share?
Yes, thank you, Norma. Thank you, folks. I'm Stephen Lee. I'm a member of IMC Caribbean, as like Norma is, and also a member of the MGDC. First of all, thank you for both of the presentations. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance to interact with Chris subsequently. But thank you, Scott. I want to take a slightly different angle to the response to PK's question, because I think he asked the question, which I interpreted as asking, what might ICMCI be able to do to, in a sense, promote the adoption of platforms to manage the process? And I think beyond the question of what IMCI is using and what individual IMCs are using, I think there is the question is, what is the capability that we think that IMCs need to have? So if we, even just from the two presentations that we looked at, we can see some things emerging already. That you, for instance, you need something to manage your membership interactions. You need something to manage your training. In the case of New Zealand, Scott went a bit further and talked about the Assess My Consulting, which allows you to manage your to assist members managing their capability. And it does sort of remind me, I too am into information systems and enterprise work, and we have encountered the system in my practical work in the Caribbean, where you have different national organizations, nothing to do with consulting, by the way, but different national organizations that need to work together and need to have certain capabilities. And the opportunity, I think, for ICMCI is to define the capability required by the IMCs, not the products, not that you must use product A or product B, but that we expect you as an IMC to be able to have a platform to efficiently manage your membership interactions, to efficiently manage your training, the creation and dissemination of training, and so on. Whether you use the same as us or as others is a different question, but I think there is the opportunity to define the capability and promote that capability, and so that we can have the IMCs operating on a higher level. Because it is a significant deficiency if we don't have those capabilities, the expectations of the members and prospective members, and we would not be able to move to where we want to without them. So I would want to suggest that we think of it in that way and see whether there's the opportunity for ICMCI to promote that type of approach.
That is a beautiful question and comment, Stephen. And yes, we try and promote what we do in order for IMCs maybe to reflect those in their day-to-day. But we need to remember one thing. IMCs are members of ICMCI. They are the General Assembly, but the connection is mainly the competence framework and our standards. So if an IMC is a member of ICMCI, we as ICMCI cannot intervene with how they run. However, we intervene with how they run our standards. So we try and support, we put suggestions on the table, and during our annual meetings, we actually update, inform, and mostly not give recommendations, but yes, we can start doing that. But we imply what could enhance their governance, their running of the IMC, and the services they provide to their members. So yes, that is something that ICMCI could do. We can start with what PK said, which is making sure that we all kind of look and feel the same. That's what I also got from PK's question, so that we make sure that the CMC always stands out. But yes, recommendations on how to run better is good, but it's not more than that. Now, with the charter that Norma mentioned, we try and put together more information on how to become a better governing body. And we hope that IMCs will look into that and maybe take hints on how to enhance their day-to-day activities and how to enhance their deliverables to their members.
Thank you very much for that, Rima. Chris, I'm just wondering if there's anyone else that wanted to ask a question or make a comment on what has been some very thought-provoking challenges for all of our IMCs. Yes, Judith, you're raising your hand. Can you introduce yourself? You're muted, Judith. You have to put unmute.
Thank you.
And then I
Thank you,
want to hear
Norma.
from Christina as well.
Yes.
Go ahead, Judith.
My response, or how I would like to comment on PK's remark, is that I feel it's definitely valuable if how do you call this? If ICIs use the same platform, and that we how do you say this? It's like a quantum discount that you can have. The more people that use the system, the cheaper it becomes for each member. So I would like to think about the implementation process of these systems throughout by looking in something like that.
Okay.
It's not-
Rima, you
it's
wanted
not-
to make a comment in terms of, because we at ICMCI cannot insist that the IMCs use one platform or the other. But what I'm hearing you say, Judith, is if we could somehow find a way of getting a group rate, the
Yes,
IMCs
exactly.
might be more interested
Yes.
in that. Scott, I see your hand
That's
up
exactly
to
what I
respond.
mean.
I may
Yes.
also add, Norma.
Okay, go
Judith,
ahead,
that
Rima.
is beautiful, and that is something that could be done. However, we need to first look into which IMCs would want to be on board with anything that we do. Simply because when we look at our membership, would IMC China, IMC Russia, IMC Kazakhstan, IMC Armenia, XYZ, all of those non-English speaking countries, would they also want to be on board with whatever we use, which is English based? Or such a solution that we may look into, would it be also usable in other languages? Because remember, ICMCI is a mix of cultures, languages, and area, okay? And we cannot always assume that all countries would be on board with whatever we use. For example, if we look into China, they have their own systems. They are implementable in China. Would they be implementable in the Caribbean? So everyone has their own culture, has their own language, and we're the big pot where we try and make sure that all of us speak the same language, which is ICMCI's language. Professionality, enhancing the environment of our management consulting profession, making sure that the CMC unifies our language, because it's about standards, it's about competencies, and so on. So what you're saying is beautiful. Maybe it is something that we should look into, but I would assume that before contacting any provider, we should actually look at the interest within our IMCs. And let's see how that happens. One of the
Definitely.
examples that I can give you, Judith, is that when we promoted the ISO 20700 2017, which was almost our product, We provided an English version of the standard to many of the IMCs, and many of them said, thank you, but no thank you. We will go to our standards entities in our countries and the organizations in order to get the standard in the local language. So language is an issue, culture is an issue, but we keep striving to make sure that at least we provide suggestions, we provide recommendations, and whomever wants to take them up is welcomed. And if we find a point where something is of traction to many of the IMCs, then yes, we will be very generous in putting the proper effort and making sure that they get what they ask for. So we will look
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. I see Scott has had his hand up. Scott?
A bit of a comment, observation. So we in New Zealand, we work really collaboratively with Australia. So there's a while ago where Australia was struggling with the system, and they.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you clearly, Scott.
There's a period a while ago where Australia was struggling with their admin systems, and we shared concepts. So they're using a lot of the models that we have running a few years ago, and they're picking up and moving ahead. So I think, I don't know about globally, but certainly within regions, within common societies, that happens. But for me, the really exciting thing was what Nick was talking about, because a common learning management system and a common platform, I would think would be incredibly valuable. Certainly, I would consider it would be valuable for us, my personal opinion. So I think there's some really good opportunities that probably need to be very targeted about what is useful for the most societies that we support, would be my thinking. But certainly, I've written lots of notes about what Nick's comments about the learning management system. That, for me, feels like something that could gain traction, would be my comment. There you go. Thank you. And thank you, Nick.
Thank you. And I see Nick's hand up, so go ahead, Nick.
Well, yeah, this has been a fascinating conversation this morning, and I'm really indebted to those who have shown the capabilities they have, there is a development issue for ICMCI here, the central organisation, in terms of fundamentally why we're here, and more, I'm beginning to see that amongst our member institutes there is tremendous capability, tremendous talent, tremendous development items that have been put together. And I repeat what I said earlier, I don't see the point of any of us reinventing the wheel if something good is already in place. I don't see ICMCI as being an organisation that demands that every institute puts in place or is a part of a monolithic one-size-fits-all system, because I don't think that is the spirit of ICMCI, and it's not the way for us to go into the future. We need to use the great talents that are available within our various institutes to do things, and ICMCI, for me, should be the central organisation that coordinates those efforts, that makes sure that whatever initiative takes place conforms to our central general principles, and that we, as ICMCI, make available to every consultant within our community all of those things which are being made available, being developed in our member institutes. So yes, we should have a central system. We should have a central portal that any consultant can log into, identify the learning path that they want to follow, and be able to do it online, self-paced or whatever, in order to develop their capability, their maturity. But I do see ICMCI more as a coordinator and an overseer of those processes, rather than demanding that everybody conforms to one central monolithic system. As Reem said, that's an impossible dream for a global organization, because there is so much difference in culture, in language, in approaches around the world. We take the best of what's available from all of our members and we make it available to any consultant. My further dream is that we make it available at some point to every consultant in the world. When we become truly the voice of the profession, then what we are putting together now should be the place that every consultant goes to if they want to develop their capability. But we are not going to provide a monolithic one-size-fits-all system. We're going to use the talents and the development capabilities that are available in our member institutes and make sure that we coordinate it and oversee it, so that it does at least conform to our principles.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Nick. And putting it into perspective, that there are many things that are being done across the globe. Yes, we can encourage, but we don't have a mandate to insist on anything one way or the other. Okay, and I see that Dimitri has joined us, and we're just nearing the end of our webinar now, because as I indicated, we didn't have to keep it exactly to an hour, because if you needed to have some further discussion, those who could stay, we are welcome. We are able to just continue a little bit longer. Is there any other question that you would have in terms of some of the challenges that the IMCs are facing, and any idea that came out of the presentations and the discussion that you would like to say, this I think would be very helpful to us? Does anyone have any comment? Otto, go ahead.
Perhaps because I understand what Nick is mentioning, not a monolithic area, but also perhaps, just as an idea, this could have two levels, because eventually each IMC, as Rima and Nick has mentioned, they would have their own localized features or facilities. But I think there is also, in the comments that were provided before, the need to have maybe a basic level of communication and a forum or something like that people could, as a member of an ICMCI institute, to just log in and communicate and place a message and receive and contact people, which is fairly easy to do and provides a basic level of communication and of community for everyone that is within the umbrella of ICMCI.
Okay.
Just as an idea.
That's another dream, Otto, that I join you in dreaming. It is something that we can look into, definitely. We've started with small steps, which is the CMC directory. Another small step was the CMC firm. And what we're trying to overcome is the fact that ICMCI does not have a direct contact with the members of our members.
Right.
We have contact with the IMCs. So if everyone believes in Otto's dream like we do at ICMCI, then please, as IMCs, make sure they understand what ICMCI is all about. Let them be involved with ICMCI as well. We cannot go out and reach your CMCs, but if you let them reach us, that would be beautiful. We try and accumulate as much as we can in data with regards to the members of our members, but you are our medium, you are the channel. So if you are active in making them feel like they belong to this global entity, then please let them reach out, let them be active, let them be part of it, of this big family. I don't want to say organization. We are a family by the end of the day. So if you let them be active in this family, we would be able to understand better how to support you as IMCs. But as long as you're I'm going to use this word and don't hate me for it, a buffer between us and them, then we may not be able to support you properly. If you become a channel, then actually we would be able to do more as a big family. So thank you, Otto, for putting that on the table.
Yes, I'll share with you by email an idea on this item, just for your consideration.
Okay, and maybe
Excellent.
if it's something that could happen, we could have that separately offered to the IMCs and maybe have them on board. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the nice things about these experience exchanges, a number of good ideas come up. The key question is, how do we move forward in integrating them and maybe moving to the next step? So what I was really interested in is the types of technologies that IMC New Zealand and IMC Canada are using. And I'm thinking, hey, I didn't know about that before. Or IMC could possibly use that. And how do we then facilitate that sharing of information, ideas, perspectives that I think would benefit all of us? Okay. Yes, go ahead, PK. You had your hand up, PK.
No, I don't think I have my hand up, but I want to comment.
Yes.
You are right, normal that I only after hearing the Canada, then I realized that they have the Monday.com that could digitalize the application certification process, and that's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
these are the basic thing the IMC should have, I think, from the application process to certification process for each of
Absolutely.
the member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could add something to that, Norm, I think
Yes.
PK raises a very important point that we realise there are some tremendous capabilities in some of our IMCs, but we have other member IMCs who are small, who are still developing, who don't have that capability, who don't have the financial resource. But what we can offer them is to have all those things as part of our community. By ICMCI acting as a central coordinator, signpost, channel to those things. It means any of our member institutes, any of our members, CMC people around the world, can have the opportunity of getting on board with those and taking advantage of what some of our bigger IMCs have been able to put in place. That, to me, is the real role of ICMCI, is making those things available to all of our community.
And making it available doesn't mean that you're insisting that they use it. You're saying, here are some options that you, as your IMC, can choose to utilize if you wish.
Exactly.
And that is very, very key. Okay.
Yes, no, but just to
yes, go ahead,
on that point
Stephen.
again, I just want to again make the distinction between products and capability, and that's the part of the point I was trying to make earlier, and it ties in with it. So one does not necessarily have to say IMC should use product A or product B. but one can promote certain capabilities within the IMCs. And these capabilities can be achieved through certain products. With some IMCs, they may use product A, others may use product B. But what is the capability we're trying to get at? And capability, for instance, with regard to your interaction, your accessibility to your members, your capability with your ability to deliver training to your members, your capability to provide members with assessment capability, the ability, yes. And I think that is what we need to focus on. How can those tools deliver certain capabilities? The other thing I would say about capabilities is that you can address capabilities through your quality framework. So it is not that you're specifying tools that they must use, but you must say, to meet our quality standards, you must have these capabilities. And that's the opportunity I think IMCI can pursue.
Yeah.
And I like the way you phrased it, Stephen. What is the capability we expect you to have? And then these are some of the tools. You choose which one is most appropriate for you, but here are some tools and here's some experience that you can utilize to build the capability which is required of you. Okay. Very interesting. Christina from Austria, we had a previous discussion on this. Is there anything that you would want to add based on the Austria experience?
I'm just listening rather, because as I explained before, we have a very big structure and are not that flexible in our system. But it's interesting to see, for example, like Canada, what they already use in their daily business. So I think it would be great if you could share the presentation maybe afterwards as well to rewatch and just, get some input or just to check it again. Yeah, it's very interesting. I think it's great if you're maybe more flexible to try new things and implement them. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. And yes, I just would like to say that the presentations will be available. How is it on the YouTube channel or is it on the YouTube
and by the
channel?
way, to add to what you're saying, PK and Otto, we also use Minitool Movie Maker, which I will use in order to edit this video and make sure that it is uploaded to our YouTube. Once both sessions are finished, I will make sure to edit the videos, upload them, and then we'll announce to everyone that this is where you can listen to them and learn more. Because one other thing, and that's what Scott said, which is the assessmyconsulting.com. I'm going to read more about that, Scott. I'm going to learn more about it, and maybe it is something that should be shared with our academic fellows. So let me learn more. If I have questions, I'll send to you. And once I have the understanding, I'll be able to introduce better to Simon, who's the chair of the academic fellows, and that could be something that you both could take further. So yes, there are opportunities. We need to look for them. We need to listen, learn, and even with small resources. And like Nick said, it could be financial, it could be actually human resources that are lacking at some IMCs, but ideas are free. Many of those applications have a free plan, and we can all start small, and with those helping us to grow, we can grow with them. So let's hope such sessions keep our eyes open to every opportunity. So thank you for this opportunity, Norma.
Beautiful. Rima, I think that was the concluding statement from this webinar. We really appreciate the input, the ideas, the sharing, the interaction. A special thank you to Scott Rogers from IMC New Zealand for sharing, for being here this morning, night. It's night for you. And also we also thank Canada who pre-recorded, and they will be at the next session, which was going to be at 4 p.m. UTC. So we'll have a different group of people, but we may have some of the same of you coming back if you wish to get a different perspective. And I really, really, and sorry, Nick, thank you very much for being present in spite of your jet lag and being all over the world. We really value your comments and suggestions here this morning. And all of you, many of you did not necessarily speak, but you were very much present. And thank you very much for being present, for contributing to our session today. So on that, sorry, Dimitri, you came in late, but you're still welcome to come and join us at 4 p.m. UTC. I'm not sure what what time that is wherever you are in the world, but whatever it is, feel free to join us. And I thank you all for being here this morning and for sharing and interacting and highlighting some very important things that our IMCs can all do. So on that note, I would like to say have a good day. Have a good day, night to everyone who has participated here this morning, afternoon, night. And a special thank you to, sorry, I meant to say specifically to Carmel and to Stephen, who were part of the subcommittee that helped to craft this experience exchange. A special thank you to both of you. And Jetta wasn't here, but she was also part of that. Okay, so on that regard, have a great day, everyone, and we are going to move forward more effectively with use of technology and AI in our work with our IMCs. Thank you.
For sure.